For example, was it incompetence when the Fed produced a lot of money during COVID and sent it to a firm like BlackRock to manage? This is particularly true given that BlackRock in late 2019 mapped out the Fed's monetary policy in the event of a COVID pandemic and what the central bank would have to do in the event of an unexpected emergency. Could it have been corruption or just plain incompetence? They would often attempt to exonerate themselves. It's clear that when they're caught or begin to get caught for corrupt practices, they'll tell you not to look any farther. Seriously, we're completely dim-witted. Are you aware of this? I think about it, there has to be some explanation other than ineptitude for the enormous transfer of wealth that has occurred in the last 2 decades to the wealthiest individuals in the world. And an increasing number of them have released the part about immunizations being both safe and effective, It was obvious to many in the alternative media community that it was in its early stages and that not enough testing had been conducted, and their words were muzzled. Afterwards, individuals were compelled to comply with the requirements through mandates and similar measures. Was that like a lack of competence because they were in control? They knew what many in the alternative media knew at the time. Regardless, they proceeded to pass it. Plus, there's now this. They're denying its existence. Do the world's elites and BlackRock really have our trust? Can we have faith that these organizations genuinely want what's best for us? Whitney Webb has recently issued a warning, urging us to address these concerns in an interview. Whitney Webb, an investigative journalist, investigates the hidden Bitcoin and cryptocurrency methods employed by BlackRock. She claims that a far broader scheme is about to be unveiled with the approval of BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. According to Whitney, the wealthy and powerful plan to exploit blockchain technology and Bitcoin to gain even greater influence over the world. She foresees a future where the anonymity and value that cryptocurrencies provide are compromised through manipulation. In a previously unseen scenario, Webb implies this is all a part of a grander plot to bring down the fiat money system. She alludes to a bigger clandestine effort that is now underway, suggesting that the US dollar may not be the last currency to fall. It has been building steam for a while, but now it's really taking off. However, it actually dates back a few years. With a regulated internet as the eventual aim, online anonymity and privacy will be a thing of the past. And they intend to achieve this by requiring citizens to associate their official government ID with their online activities and access. Say who you are. The United States, supposedly it's official, but that's not the case. Numerous pieces of government policy, be they pertaining to this or any other topic, do not originate from within the government. The source is think tanks. It starts with organizations like that or the World Economic Forum, which makes its way to lawmakers, who pass laws based on it, and finally the state makes sure everyone follows the rules. These policies, however, do not always reflect the wishes of the state legislature. The majority of the time, companies, billionaires, and all of these individuals finance these think tanks. Politicians are also owned by them. Actually, it's them coming up with the policies and then utilizing the state to impose them on the people. According to my coworker Ian Davis, that's what they term the global public-private partnership. Plus, I believe it's well-balanced. By the way, he places the BIs on the pyramid. However, the Obama administration implemented this regulation, making it one of the first of its kind in the US. A digital driver's license was the term used. The basic premise is that when you get an internet connection at your home, your ISP will assign your unique identification number to all of your online activity. Your internet activities, including everything you read and post, will be accessible to the government and its signals intelligence arm or intelligence agency if you do this. And all of your purchases. Yes, absolutely. The elimination of financial anonymity and privacy is intrinsic to this whole movement. There is no separation between the two. Furthermore, I have delved deeply into this topic since at least 2021 because it is closely related to their plans to impose a regulated internet on the general public. It is time to accomplish this. People won't agree to it. That much is true. For this reason, they require an occurrence that causes widespread terror, anger, and fear if they are to succeed. Thus, this will essentially be included into what I would term a Cyber Patriot Act. I take it that the Patriot Act refers to the post-September 11th, 2001 U.S. legislation that was pushed through. A lot of it had nothing to do with 9/11s at all, but it was a massive attempt by the state to seize control, profit from the flurry of activity following September 11th. In order to force all of this through, they require an event of that kind. These plans have been in the works for quite some time, and they cover the entire globe, not just the United States. The UK, I believe, has a law known as the Online Safety Bill, Law enforcement in the United Kingdom and the United States has been working tirelessly for years and years to end encryption, but they will claim that it is about safeguarding children when in fact it is about that. The current US Attorney General, Bill Barr, served under Trump and had encryption dismantled as one of his primary policy objectives. I suppose not many people paid attention, even though he brought it up frequently. But in the UK, there's a similar push because, as you're probably aware, the US and UK national security states are highly integrated, particularly in the areas of signals intelligence and the Five Eyes alliance, which includes more countries but is obviously dominated by the UK and the US. It's not as if the two countries are in charge. Everything we've been discussing regarding government regulation of the internet is on the horizon, isn't it? The initial indications of it we're already seen here. It's clear that there's a movement to suppress more speech, make people's speech more traceable to their ID, and increase surveillance. Why would they want to gut encryption? For the purpose of reading and following all of your transactions and statements. There's an analogous movement in the cryptocurrency space, led by Bitcoin in particular, to outlaw mixers and any service that provides enhanced financial anonymity. I mean, they can take it to whatever level they want. If someone uses a mixer, they can target you. They want to build it up like that. Financial and internet privacy are no longer something they value. And that is what this agenda for internet regulation is all about. The programmability and monitoring capabilities of a CBDC are the main concerns of its critics, but it also has direct connections to other topics such as central bank digital currencies. This unfair attempt to govern the internet. This is at the heart of it all. Arguing that it's regulating the internet is more accurate in reality, it amounts to a coup d'etat that would allow for unprecedented monitoring and control of people's online lives. On the other hand, these same entities are actively encouraging individuals to spend their lives online, citing the Fourth Industrial Revolution and other theories, as was the case during the COVID period, you know. Oh no, we're putting the locks down, you won't be able to leave the virtual world and do anything. Stay connected online at all times. Both education and employment have moved online. You can't visit a physical bank anymore, therefore you have to live your life online to the fullest. Going there in person is not an option. Using your phone and all that, you should place your grocery orders. That is why they are increasingly trying to drag us into the digital sphere while simultaneously getting ready to exert far greater control over it than they do at the moment. More importantly, it is not a coincidence. If you find that to be chance, please accept my apologies. It's quite innocent of you. It seems to reason that there would be opposing groups when discussing the powerful, would there not? Even though they don't always see eye to eye, they do on most issues. I mean, think about it, a lot of what these folks do is really comparable to what rulers did hundreds of years ago. They seek total control over all forms of power, including financial, political, and more generally distributed forms of power, so that they can live their lives as they like, while simultaneously enforcing their own double standards on others. Am I correct? There will be no more peasant uprisings because this is really an attempt to use technology to firmly establish that in new ways. I see. In my opinion, that is the crux of the matter. For instance, the mathematical certainty of the eventual collapse of our debt-based monetary system is closely tied to the current drive for a regulated internet and the elimination of online anonymity. Furthermore, there has been an unparalleled amount of corruption, malfeasance, and mad financial gaming within the banking system, especially on Wall Street and its worldwide counterparts. Things to do, and similarly 2008, correct? That will eventually burst, but in 2008, everyone knew the banks were to blame, and they were furious at the banks, weren't they? Imagine for a second a scenario where the banks are complicit with the government and intelligence services, or the central bank in the United States, and you know the same thing is going to happen again. Make sure that doesn't happen again. Now the question is, who can you put the blame on when things go wrong with the financial system and slow progress? When the banking